What we're going to do is we're just going to open a few life rafts just to show people what happens when you need to open a life raft. Hopefully you'll never have to, but it's good to know what happens when it opens. Okay? Okay everybody? What you'll first notice is there is plenty of cable on here. So very often people are frightened because they think, oh, I mustn't pull the cable because it's going to go off. But no, you've got at least 5 meters of cable in here before it goes off. So here we have your life raft, which you can share with 5 other people. It appears to be perfect. Now this is an old life raft and it's been abandoned and somebody's bought a new one. But of course, you look at this and you think, oh, I've wasted all that money on a new life raft. But this, we won't have time to do it, but this probably by tomorrow will be like this. Because the old fabric gets porous and loses the air. And of course, when you're in the middle of the ocean, you're sitting in here for survival, you have no possibility to pump the air up, so you're going to be in trouble. So what we normally have is some steps to get into the life raft when you're in the sea, and this are drogues, which actually they act like sea anchors, so they slow the life raft down. It doesn't get blown so much with the wind. These fill with water and they're like little sea anchors. We've got some equipment. I think this model didn't come with the cooker, just the washing machine. I'm not absolutely sure. But what we have here we have a pump, so you can actually pump it up if you're lucky. Here we have a flare. Okay, so. And in here we have, I'm not sure whether this is a shower hat or it's a bucket, but I think it's a bucket probably. And here we have various bits of toiletries so that you can clean things and wash things, and there's a blunt knife in here so you can knife things, and there's a whistle so that if you lose somebody in there you can whistle them and they'll come from the other side of the life raft. So in here we have some seasickness pills, I think, yeah, seasickness pills, which I suppose comes in very handy in a life raft. What else have we got? More flares.
What's the difference between the two? The one in the canister and the long one. Is there a difference?
You mean a life raft in a canister, or these?
The two you said that was a flare.
What we've got is we've got parachute flares, which are the big ones there. These are hand flares, so this flare will just give you a smoke coming off here. This one shoots a parachute into the sky, and this one is a smoke flare, which when you take the top off, it creates a big smoke area for people to see. So what else we got in here? Oh, this is a very good. Actually, this is a good quality life raft with a good level of equipment. These are bags for sleeping in, so they're to keep you warm and dry. So that's a good thing in here. This is in case the seasickness pills don't work. Instructions on how to be sick. More flares. Another plastic container for keeping things dry. A torch with some batteries. It is, isn't it? Yeah.
Like Christmas. Wow.
Yeah. Some paddles. So all is not lost. If you're in the middle of the Atlantic, you can get going with those. This is a signal mirror, which some people use for shaving, but it's normally for attracting aircraft. So what do we have here? Yeah, with this level of equipment, this life raft would have been regarded as an offshore life raft. you have different states of life raft. You have an offshore life raft, an inshore life raft, and a medium one. So an inshore life raft is really normally doesn't have a cover. It's just an open life raft because it's for boats that are only travelling a few miles offshore. An offshore life raft would have more materials in, and that would be for travelling distances of 60 or 100 miles offshore. An ocean life raft would be for obviously going across oceans like the Atlantic. So here we have, yeah, as I say, this is a particularly good situation. You've got a first aid kit in here, because the first aid kits in most of the other life rafts are quite small, which we'll see when we open another one. So that's your level of equipment in here, which is very good, and that's your life raft. Any questions?
Thank you.
On here you'll see there is a scoop on this side of the life raft, of the canopy, so any rain that falls will fall into this and can be collected inside. Okay, so there is a way of doing that. And this is just another way of putting your head out to have a look, but this is for rain, yeah. So that goes into the inside, and so that you can collect rainwater, yeah. Oh yeah, and you have a light on the top here, which is automatic. So as soon as the life raft inflates, this light should be going on. It's probably it's actually light sensitive, so it'll only go on in the dark.
And that's obviously the canister that inflated it.
That's the canister that inflated it, and that's now useless. It's of no value at all to the life raft because it doesn't keep inflating. It inflates completely, and that's it. Close by to help rescue you, you can actually throw this to the other vessel, and they can pull you in. If it happens to be a 30,000 ton tanker, it's probably going to be a bit more difficult. But so because there's a quoit on there, and it's not for putting over hoops, it's for actually throwing to somebody. So we can throw that quite a long way, and it goes all the way. See, because of the weight on the end. So what you can hear is the gas cylinder. Once it gets to the pressure it needs, the gas cylinder it expels all the spare gas. That's why there's no extra gas in there. After it's done once, it's finished. You can have a look. Now you see in this life raft this is a coastal life raft, and it's much less equipment in there. So you've got only one paddle. No, you've got two paddles. Sorry. And you've got just a few flares, and this was last serviced in 2013. They should be serviced every 3 years, so that's why this one is well out of date. We have the same old things. We have in here, we've got a canister. I think there's a pump in there as well. We've got the quoit for rescuing to another boat, and we have this, so on a day like today you can keep nice and warm. Or if you happen to be putting a roast in the oven, it's quite handy for that as well. So yeah, so this one also has a water catching system here for catching rainwater. So we have flares. Any ideas what that is?
A balloon pump. If you be pushed by balloons with that.
A pump. So here we have also a torch. We have some seasickness pills. Ah, that's handy. We have a repair kit. So if you're in the middle of the Atlantic and you have a puncture, you can repair it. Very handy. So batteries for the torch. The whistle, spare bulb, and of course instructions for survival at sea. My procedure is always the life raft line should be tied to the boat.
Yeah.
So then you throw the life raft over if you need it, and then you can keep pulling the line till it inflates, and the boat is attached to the boat. So then you have the opportunity to get into the life raft if you need to, and then disconnect from the boat. But as you say, it's obviously, not obviously, but normally the life raft is the real last resort, because you're always safer staying with the boat while it's floating. But the life raft is there just in case. Once a life raft has been inflated like this, the gas that's inside inflating it, I'm not sure what it is, but I think it's CO2. For it to be repacked, if you were going to reuse the life raft, the inside of the life raft has to be purged with another inert gas to get the CO2 out. Because if you leave the CO2 in there, when you collapse it and take it out, the residues of the CO2 will rot the plastic, rot the tubes much quicker. So in a life raft service station situation, they will inflate the life raft and then they will evacuate it after purging it with the gas that purges it, so that they can deflate it properly. So they wouldn't actually inflate it with the cylinder, they would inflate it with air. And if it's packed in a plastic bag and sealed with vacuum, then the service period is normally 3 years. Before it used to be every year, but now it's 3 years. So every 3 years the life raft needs to be opened, all of the equipment needs to be checked, and the life raft itself needs to be inflated, and there is a certain minimum time that it has to stay inflated. I think it's overnight or something, 12 or 18 hours, and they check the pressure when they inflate it, and it has to be a certain pressure when they come back 18 hours later for it to pass the test, and then it's repacked. But they also inspect, of course, for any problems or delamination or problems with the fabric.